everybody to CGN Spotlight. My name is Lil Wooly. I'm here with Rev.
What's up, man?
And of course, you guys know him and love him. He is the owner of the CGN.us, ZHeck.
Hello, hello, everyone.
Rev, what the
So,
hell are we doing?
all right. So, I came up with the idea that twice a month, once every 2 weeks on Saturdays, me and Z would get together, have conversations about gaming and the website and how everything's going, and then try to spotlight a member of the website to, give back to the community, give back to each other, because that's the best way to do it. That's actual networking, is getting to know one another on a more personal level than, hey, I'm going to do business with you. Yeah, okay, me too. Screw you. You know, I'd rather get to know people and let you guys and girls get to know each other a little bit better with a little bit of a silly but in-depth interview. So since we do not have a guest for week one, it's actually pretty good because then you guys get to hear and get to know ZHeck a little bit better.
Nice.
So if you haven't watched one of our podcasts, the way I do it is I ask three questions. We have two topics to talk about, and then we move on with our lives because that's the way a podcast should be. To the point, get it done, get it out. Um, but this week I only have one topic, and I'm going to let ZHeck ramble and say whatever the hell he wants. I'm going to ask questions in the middle. But ZHeck, the topic this week is, how important do you think using the website for CGN.us would help someone grow, not just as a content creator, but as everything, content creator, person, human being, everything? How do
Like,
you think that could affect it?
like, how important is CGN to a
Yeah.
creator's growth? I mean,
Yes.
it's definitely beneficial. I mean, the ability to be able to network with other creators within a network that is primarily creators is super beneficial because everyone you're surrounded with is either some form of a creator or in this industry of watching creators or connecting with creators or a brand that's trying to establish themselves with creators. So it's definitely beneficial in that regard. Um, the I mean that's it's a niche market, you know. A lot of people don't think of it that way because streaming or content creation has grown so big over the years. But even though it's grown so big, it's still not a major player when it comes to just the 9 to 5s that everybody else does throughout their life. There's a lot of people still out there that have no clue what Twitch or Mixer or even the idea of being a YouTube creator even is. It's it's not seem Many people have dabbled in it for sure. Like they'll make a video and put it up there. But the idea of becoming a full-time creator or making a livelihood out of this, it's lost on so many people. It's why you see so many creators give up within the first 5 or 6 weeks of trying
So
to be a creator
so
is
that that
because they have.
that actually brings me into my first question because the topic is not going to change, but I have questions with it. For a small to medium sized creator, what is one piece of advice you could give to everybody that could help them with their growth, not just on CGN, but Twitch, YouTube, Mixer? Uh, I'm not going to say the other ones because it really doesn't matter at this point in time. D Live, I'll say D Live, but what is your piece of advice for small and medium creators?
I think my advice rings true for all creators. Create something that not somebody else is already doing. Like don't just rehash the same idea over again. Because if that thing is already working, nobody's going to switch over to you to watch you do the same thing unless you're better at it. See, there is a spot where like you can, if you're better at it, then yeah, people might come watch you. But for example, right now, if you look at the top guys who play Fortnite, if you're a Fortnite streamer and you play Fortnite all the time, and you see these guys who are the top Fortnite players who have good content and are entertaining, don't try and be them. Don't try and emulate them, because you're not going to reach their level of success by being them. Like it doesn't work that way. You have to kind of create your own content, and you have to do something that's different from everybody else. That people have to be able to connect with you in a way that says, I like watching this guy because he's not like every other person I watch. There's got to be something that grabs their attention and keeps them watching. And I think a lot of people lose that when it comes to content creators, especially small creators. They look up to bigger creators and they try and emulate what they're already doing. And you can't do that. I mean, you can to an extent, but you're not going to reach the top of that pedestal. You're always going to be below following. Don't I guess it really boils down to, don't be a follower, be a leader. Create your own stuff. I think it reigns true for just about every creator of every size, but I think it primarily hurts the smaller creators more often than not, because they all do the same exact thing. I mean, you can see it. 90% of the streamers on Twitch or Mixer, they're all doing the exact same thing. They're playing one game, they're saying the exact same stuff, and there's no difference between anything of what they're doing. Like, why would I choose to watch you over someone else? You got to give me a reason. And if you're not giving me anything different, I'm not going to come back. It's saddening sometimes, because once people get it, they're like, "Oh, yeah, no, I finally understand that." But I don't think a lot of people figure it out in time. And then they just end up giving up too quickly and they're gone. I don't know if that's a blessing in disguise, or if it's a bad thing. I mean, we always say that it's better to have more creators out there, but there's only so many viewers going around. There's only so many people out there to watch your content. So not everyone can be a creator, obviously.
Yeah, it honestly feels like there's at times an infinite amount of streamers, but a finite amount of viewers.
Oh yeah, there
And
is.
and when I won't even say the copying thing, because see, that's a double-edged sword, because there's people who hear that, and this is coming from 12 years of experience of streaming, so y'all all understand.
Hmm.
Somebody will hear what he just said and be like, okay, so I have to be my own man, I have to be my own woman, I have to be my own dog, I have to be my own squirrel, whatever the hell you are.
Right.
And I had to come up with something original. Here's the problem: Streaming started in 2007. Justin TV started in 2007,
Right.
and at the end of the day, there's not much that you can come up with that hasn't been done and ran into the ground.
Oh no.
That's another thing you have to remember, because like with what I'm doing right now, I'm not the first person to try to make an entire podcast group for random topics to do things together. I'm not the first. I
Right.
won't be the last. My niche is I have experience doing this kind of content. I have the people that I can talk to, and at the end of the day, I don't want to see anybody, especially with this one
Well,
and the D&D one that's starting Monday. I just want to see people
I
grow.
don't
And
think it's so much that you have to do something that's completely original, but you have to do it the best. Like, if, like you said, you make a podcasting network, I mean, yeah, it's been done, but that doesn't mean that it's been done in that specific market. It doesn't mean it's been done that specific way. Like, there are different ways of going about things. Like, there can be multiple Fortnite streamers, but they all do different things. Like, if you go watch Ninja, you watch Ninja for a specific way that he tailors his content. He plays Fortnite, and I mean, and not as much anymore, but I mean, primarily that's what people know him for,
yeah,
is Fortnite. But you watch him play Fortnite, and you watch an old man play Fortnite, and it's an entirely different show. This old
yeah,
man might suck at Fortnite, and that's what you're coming to watch. You're coming to watch him suck at Fortnite. You don't go to watch Ninja suck at Fortnite. but they're still playing the same game, but they're creating totally different content. And the thing is Fortnite ran, the game itself being run into the ground? Yeah, everybody jumped on the bandwagon and plays it as much as possible. But it doesn't mean that the content can't be separated and be different. So I always try to tell people, don't just rehash the same thing. Don't tell everybody like I'm I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna watch Ninja. I'm gonna study everything he does, and I'm gonna rehash and do the exact same thing. People aren't gonna come for that content. You know, there's already a place where they already have an outlet. He's already out there. It's it. I think a lot of people get this mindset though because they look at like television, you know, and television is a really odd system where like if you go watch Friends, for example, Friends isn't on TV anymore. Like they're not making new episodes. I mean, you can still watch it, but they're not making new episodes. So someone always feels like in television or in Hollywood, they have to fill the void, you know? Like they're not if you watch Ghostbusters came out, it's not still out in theaters today, you know? But a streamer is still out on the platform today. So you can't just rehash that idea, you know? It's a very different system. You have to imagine it like it's a big theater and King Kong came out and everybody is watching King Kong and it's the biggest thing to watch right now. You can't then turn around and say, I'm going to make my own King Kong movie in the exact same theater and people are going to come watch me. It's no, they're just going to keep going back to the original one, you know, because it's still there. If they never take it out of the theaters, there's no reason to ever go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think people get confused because we're so used to that aspect of like things do go out of style. Where in this scenario, these people don't ever have to go out of style because they can continue to create content and they're always there. So it's a new breeding ground in terms of media. And I think people fall into this trap of where they think I see the success they're having and I have to emulate them in order to create that success. And that's not really the way to go about it.
All right. So next question, and this one is interesting. So Wooly, if you have feedback or something that you would like to say, I'd like to have your feedback too. There's a fallacy, and that's what
Right.
it is. There's a fallacy out there that if you try to do streaming for money from RIP, you're doing a disservice to streaming and yourself.
If you try and do it for money,
Yes.
you're doing it for the wrong reasons, is what you're meaning.
Yes.
Like that's what people say.
Yes.
Right. I don't think that's true. Like, I mean, and like you said, it's a fallacy. The idea that if you do it for money, you're doing it wrong. Well, no, if there was no money involved, nobody would be watching. You know? I mean, some people would be watching just because they enjoy the content. But if the money was not involved, if there was no money to be gotten from it, the type of content that you're actually wanting to see would not be produced. Like these guys, if they didn't have any monetary value for the content that they're producing, then why would they continue to produce it? Maybe just as a hobby. If it's just a hobby, then that makes sense. But then you get into the situation of where the content isn't always as good if it's just a hobby because they're working on small budgets that they make only themselves through their job.
And the way I look at it, and I can further on that one, is if you treat it just as a hobby, the thing is,
if you treat it just as a hobby, somebody who treats it as a job is going to
be
further.
Better. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And not just that. With this generation of people, I don't mean millennials, boomers, and all that crap. I mean the generation that we currently have online. Twitch, YouTube, all these places is a legit way to make money and create a family and stuff with the money that you make. You can create a life and a lifestyle with the money you make off these websites.
For sure.
Yeah.
Even if you're me, I'll just say me. My YouTube channel that Wooly runs for Boycott Everything has 12 subs. I'm not going to make any money off that. Okay. My partner Twitch channel, because I took almost a 2 year pretty much break, I destroyed the audience there. I'm not making any money off that, but I'm still working my ass off to get both of them going back at the same time, to the point where Wooly's like, Rev, we can't do a podcast every day and release every 4 days. That's just crazy. Like, I'm pushing myself because I know what I'm capable of doing, and I don't treat this as a hobby. The reason I bring that up is if you're going to do this, and this is from new streamers to somebody that's struggling like me, to somebody that's on the cusp of making it, or somebody that has just been told, if you do this for money, blah 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 blah. First off, tell them to shut the fuck up, because a human being that works their ass off to get where they're at. So we'll say Ken the Tatman, Dr. Disrespect, Ninja, Dr. Lupo, all those guys, they work their asses off on and off cast. That is their job. That is their trait. That is the thing that they wanted to build to make a living off of.
Of course,
and
they made it into a career.
They made it into a career. If you think that you can do that, you have to work. You can't treat it as a hobby. And it's like, once again, another fallacy, viewer numbers. The viewer numbers don't matter. Yes, the fuck they do.
Yes, of
they
course
absolutely fucking do.
I always get angry when people tell me that, well, we've talked about this on the CGN podcast in the past. And one of the things that always used to make me angry was when people say, don't watch the viewer count. And it's like, I get that, in the respect that if you watch your viewer count, what they're meaning is not always incorrect information neither. They're telling people who have low viewers not to watch their viewer count, because the viewer count is not always completely reflective of how many people are watching, because it's behind sometimes. You could have 7 people in your chat and it just hasn't updated yet. But
and it can also be discouraging too, like,
right, and because it's discouraging sometimes. If you're sitting there and you only have 1 viewer, you might not be as enthusiastic about your streaming. So I get the mindset of don't watch the viewer count. But the thing is, we all know that views matter. Views definitely matter, and especially in the way that these streaming platforms are designed, the more viewers you have, the higher up the directory you are, the more people are going to see you and discover you. So it makes perfect sense that people would care about the numbers. Numbers are important. But another thing that I think outweighs the numbers is the money. I think it's the whole reason we see guys like Ninja switch from Twitch to Mixer is money, not so much viewers. His viewers aren't, the amount of viewers he has on Mixer are not comparable to what he was having on Twitch.
Well, at the same time, too, he's a totally different case than what most small creators are, because this has been his job for how long now?
Yeah. Years. He's been at it for years, and you're right. He is a special case considering, the level that he's at. But at the same time, it falls back to the idea where people say, views don't matter. Well, views do matter, and what matters more than views is money. Because you could have 10,000 views and no money, or you could have 100 views and $10,000. Which one would you rather have? Everyone's going to say the $10,000 and 100. Nobody's going to say the 10,000 viewers and no money.
Right.
Well, I have a flip side to that, and I just recently realized it, because I'm with you. Every time I see somebody say that viewers don't matter, don't look at the number.
And I think they have a genuine point. Don't look at the number.
I don't anymore. I
don't think so?
No, because here's the thing, and Wooly, you've been around for almost every stream for the last 2 weeks, so Sean and the rest of the family will agree with this. I've been looking at the numbers once an hour, every hour.
Right.
And if the number has gone down, I bring my energy up to want to make somebody want to stay.
Right.
I know by looking at that number, it being at 2, 3, 4, and 5, that my energy is not where it's supposed to be, that I'm not doing something right, because I know, being a partner channel and being somebody that has been on the platform on and off for 12 years, I know what it takes to make it on Twitch. So if my numbers are 3, 4, and 5, I know my energy is not where it's supposed to be. I'm playing something that is not bringing out the best of me.
Well, yeah, but it's basically what it boils down to is it's not entertaining.
Yes.
You're not entertaining the people.
The number goes up. I know that I'm doing something right, and I need to stay the course.
Exactly.
And that goes back to, because this is not my hobby. I'm trying to use my channel to get a artificial pancreas for my son. So I can't just sit back and go, well, I don't know what the numbers are. I do ask the people that stream and that's in the Zoom with me and hang out with me, don't tell me the numbers, because I look at it. Because most of the time they'll say it once a damn hours, plus I'm looking at it once an hour. So now I'm oversaturating looking at a fucking number that I'm not happy with when I've averaged 200-300 at one point in time. So I don't need other people to tell me. Let me do that. That's my job. Your job is to be there in Zoom and hang out with me, or be in chat and hang out with me. Shut the hell up about the number. Well, you have to, if you're not going, if this is not your hobby, you have to worry about the number, be it 1 or be it 1 million.
Well, yeah, and the numbers really are important, you know. And I think you bring up a good point. By knowing what the number is, you can restructure what you're doing. If you don't, then you're not restructuring what you're doing, and you might not be entertaining. See, a lot of people, they say this kind of stuff, but they're not realizing that a lot of these new streamers, they don't start off as entertaining. It's like being a comedian for the first time. You don't start off as a great comedian. You start off as a shitty comedian that nobody wants to watch.
Yeah, you're going to bomb at open mic night every night. Your jokes are going to hit. You're going to be awkward as hell. And, you know, after your 5 minutes or however long they give you for a set.
Yeah. And that's what, and you're going to continue to do that for a long time. And it's the same thing with streaming. You are going to start streaming and you're going to suck. You're going to suck bad. You might not be, and it depends on varying levels of how bad you suck. You could be absolutely horrible, or you could be halfway decent. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be great, but you're going to be somewhere in between that level, and you will gradually get better over time. But the only way you're knowing if you're getting better is by watching the viewer count and knowing whether you're bringing in more viewers. Now, don't freak out if one day your viewer count has diminished, meaning like you're staying at a consistent 40 or 50 viewers, and then the next day you drop down to 25 or 30. A lot of people, they get hung up too much on the numbers and they go, oh, one day my numbers have dropped and I've messed up in some way. Well, maybe you didn't. Maybe people just aren't there, you know? Maybe something happened in the world that took their attention away from you for a little bit. That kind of thing happens, you know? I mean, it definitely happens because there's good, we know it happens. We have years of experience seeing this happen. For example, with movies. Movies will come out and they will be a good movie, but they will get overshadowed by another good movie. And even though that movie is good, it was overshadowed by another good movie, and they'll look at the numbers and go like, we didn't do very well. Well, it's not that you didn't do very well. You created stellar content. You just got overshadowed by something a lot bigger, and you happened to release at the same time. So you got to really look throughout like the entire month and say, am I continuing to grow? Yes. Great. Then let me continue on this path. I do, like you're saying, though, if you take it, sometimes just going day by day, you can harm yourself in that regard, and you might make a drastic change, and it's not actually useful at all.
All right. So we gave you some good advice. We probably gave you some bad advice. Last question, as important as the rest. What is advice from you, the owner of CGN.us, to every person that's going to watch this that uses the site to use the site better for themselves? What's your biggest 3 points of advice to help them use the site better?
To use the site better, I would definitely say to network with the users is number one. I mean, there's so many people that create accounts, connect their stream, and then they just assume that's all they have to do in order to grow. And this plays back to the idea of a new person doesn't know what they're doing. So they come in, connect their stream, and they just leave, you know. And they assume that just by connecting their stream and putting it within the directory of all the other people on the network that they're going to grow. And then they get upset when they find out they didn't grow. And it's like, well, you didn't grow because you didn't do anything. You know, you created lackluster content, you didn't engage with anybody, and you didn't care. So you didn't grow. That's exactly how it works. So number one, network and engage with the people. Two, spend your damn orbs. Okay, I'm giving you free money. I'm giving you free money just for engaging. So spend them. Take them damn things and use them. Feature your content. Do stuff with them. If you've got a question, ask. That's another big one. If you have a question, you ask. I will answer your question. I will give you advice. If you're saying I need help, ask. I can probably point you in the right direction or actually give you help because I'm there. I'm actually there. I'm part of it. It's not like just posting onto the void of Twitter. You post onto Twitter, I don't think Jack Dorsey's going to do anything about you. You go ask him a question, he's not going to answer your question. He's not even going to see your response probably because he's got things going on that he's doing as well. He's got other businesses to run. He's just a CEO. This is not CGN's. I'm not just a CEO. Like CGN is. This is a platform I didn't just build for other creators, but I built for myself. You know, I built this not only to give creators a place to network and like showcase their stuff, but I wanted to help as well. This way, it's an outlet for me to actually give back to people what knowledge I might have, what abilities I might have to give, or skills that I might be able to offer. It's been super helpful because I've ran into thousands of people that needed something, and I was actually able to give that to them in their time, and it was beneficial. Maybe I can look back and say, hey, I gave that person something. They didn't make it where they intended to go, like they didn't become that streamer they wanted to be, but I might have prolonged it for another 6 months by just giving them a little bit of encouragement. And if they'd had a little more of that, they might have done it. Now, I don't know, because you can't really, it's so hard to measure that kind of statistic because people kind of give up on themselves. And you can't measure people's lack of motivation. Like morale is something really hard to just pinpoint. You have to really get in there and talk with each and every member to really know what it is that's affecting them, because it's not just a blank slate where you can just throw and say, yeah, this is the right way to fix it. You have to actually have a way of doing it. So yeah, engage, network, and spend your free money. That's the best.
Spend your free money.
Yeah.
So Z and Wooly, thank you for being part of episode 1. 2 weeks from today, we will be doing episode 2. That is the 5th of September. I may be alone, correct? Or you may be there, right?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
Okay. We are looking for one member to interview. I will come up with questions. They will be really softball pitched home runs for you. You can just come hang out for 45 minutes to an hour, talk about yourself, let us get to know you, and let the community get to know you. So for ZHeck and Wooly, I would like to say thank you, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and download the mobile app when it comes out.